Alright, so this is going to be more of a podcast about the Oakland Raiders. And at this point, fans are probably really disappointed with the season so far. They're going to be disappointed with this interview with Howie Long and everything that's going on with the Oakland Raiders at this point. I'm going to go ahead and make a couple points for you guys right now that might put you at ease or might upset you a little bit already. But this whole thing reminds me of a team that I like a lot, and actually, I've been thinking the same way as Gruden so far about the way the season's played out and how these draft picks and trades have all played out. You saw during preseason that we had some issues on the defense still. We need some guys to develop and guys to show up and be consistent guys on the field. Well, Gruden drafted them. He drafted the most consistent players we've had in years so far. And other than Khalil Mack, Gabe Jackson, and Derek Carr, we didn't really have any consistent people over that time. Amari Cooper's been great for the first 2 years with Crabtree getting that dog in him, as reporters have said. I think that's complete bullcrap, honestly, at this point. How can you say that this guy has any skill at all to get a first round pick out of him? I think that's a bonus because he was a first round pick, so it's like tit for tat at that point. Especially since how many drops he has. Who really was going to give up a first round pick? And in that interview with Howie Long, he says that exactly himself, that he got a call in the middle of the night, and who's not going to take a first round for a first rounder? Like, now it's his pick. He gets to decide which receiver it is. Character flaws aside and all those things. But now having 3 first round picks this year and 2 first round picks next year, it reminds me almost of the Spurs and how they set up their dynasty. Now, I know a lot of you are Oakland fans, so you understand that the Golden State Warriors are basically the best basketball team at this point. Well, I think that the most consistent team over the last 20 years has been the San Antonio Spurs. They've produced a winning culture that consistently competes for championships, and even now, as we speak, are 5-2 and sit in a spot that's even above the LA Lakers with LeBron at this point, and beat LeBron twice. Anyways, point aside, is that in the Khalil Mack trade, we got 2 first round picks, right? That's a great deal. 2 first round picks this year from 2 different teams. Actually, stand corrected. With Khalil Mack, we have a first round next year and this year. And with the Amari Cooper trade, we have another pick this year. But basically, I stopped my tangent and I got on a roll about the Raiders again. But with the Spurs, the year before they actually finished second and were in the playoffs for the first time in a long time, and ended up with a couple of people actually becoming all-stars and getting into the playoffs even. Before 1997 season with the San Antonio Spurs, they didn't have a little guy known as Tim Duncan. They did have David Robinson, however. To put it in perspective in these terms, is that I believe that David Robinson, in essence, is our Derek Carr. And Derek Carr will be the leader and foundation of what they're trying to build right now, because he's the only one who didn't quit on them the season previously before, when the whole stand-up, sit-down debacle happened. Now, I know our show is called the West Coast Sports Debacle, and this is really a Raiders debacle, to be really completely honest, because a lot of the fans are starting to get really upset and starting to freak out about how this game is going to have a huge problem for them, and how pretty much this whole season is going to be a problem for them if they don't win games. To put it in perspective, the San Antonio Spurs of the year before 1997, the 1996 to 1997 season, they finished 20-62 with a 244 win ratio. So, for you math nerds out there, I want to go ahead and put this in perspective for you. There are 16 games in the NFL season. Alright? Are you keeping up with me? 16 games in the NFL season compared to the 82 games of the NBA season. I believe that our record will be comparable to that of the 20-62 record. So as of right now, if we have 16 games of the season and we've already lost 6 games as it is, basically it equivocates to 3 to 4 games of wins for this season. So 49ers tonight maybe be one of our 3 wins of the season. But if we end up with 3 or 4 wins in the season, we can finish in the bottom 3 of the whole NFL, giving us prime draft candidacy. Plus, who knows what Chicago will do for the rest of the season, and for the Dallas Cowboys as well. So if the Dallas Cowboys end up actually falling down for the rest of the season because of Amari dropping Cooper, then who knows? We could end up with 2 high-level draft picks this season and be able to build our own San Antonio Spurs dynasty over the next 20 years. And I'm voting for that. Even if we get a conference finals or the AFC championship title, well, anyways, besides that point, basically what I'm trying to say is if they can get us a couple more championships even in the time that they get to Vegas, at this point, if they're even competitive next year, that'll be a drastic upside from what we've seen this year. So, if you like what I've talked about today and you want to see more Raiders content, we do have a 49ers versus Raiders video already up on the channel, and we've talked about sports on the West Coast Sports Debacle every week. So, we usually talk Raiders stuff on there, and I'll usually do another podcast like this during the week. Thank you guys. Like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next week on another Raiders report.